Is it possible to turn this dark, unstable, rebuilt desk into a beautiful and functional kitchen island? Welcome to the Hippie Geeks. Let's dig in to this project. Lindsay has wanted a kitchen island for a while now, but we had just not found the right piece of furniture to work on. The other day we were walking through the thrift store and Lindsay saw this dark old desk that someone had tried converting into something useful, but didn't quite get there. The shelves are MDF, the repairs are wobbly, and it really needed some work. She had a vision for it though, so we loaded it into the van and headed home with it. We tossed ideas back and forth, finding a balance between her vision of what it could be with my input on how to make that structurally happen. With a few decisions made and parts ordered, it was time to start working on it. The first step is what you have already begun watching, the deconstruction. All of the old additions had to go so that we had a blank slate to work from. First off, that meant removing the MDF shelves that had been patched in on the side. They were barely held on with a few screws, and we wanted them to look as solid as they were going to be. The previous owner had puttied over the screw holes, so it was a matter of trial and error to find where the heads were and get them removed. Once all of the old shelving and its supports were gone, there was one more thing to remove. I used the circular saw to cut the middle leg, as we only want the finished piece to have 4 legs. With the middle leg removed though, we needed to be able to support the weight of the drawers, so we decided to put in a 2x3 board across the bottom. This will carry the weight and will also give the bottom shelf some substance that it didn't have before. I measured twice and then cut a piece to fit between the remaining legs. I used a ratchet strap to hold the legs together and keep the new piece in place while it got aligned. Once it was in place, I secured it with screws at every intersection where the support made sense. I'm not worried about additional holes on this piece, as it will be painted and distressed when everything is done, which will hide all of the construction sins in this phase. Once the front support was fully secured, I flipped the piece over and repeated the process on the back side. To keep the space from the top even with the front, I did have to notch the part that is under the drawers by 1/4 of an inch, but once that was done, I secured it as well. After that, I added cross supports from the front to the back for both sides as well as the middle of the piece. I offset the middle one onto the side that the shelves would go on, as I needed to support the 1x8 plank boards that I would be using for the shelving later. Once all 3 of those pieces were fully secured, it was time to add the 1x8 boards for the bottom shelf. We picked this size so that it would match what was on the top of the island, which worked out pretty well. Once all of those boards were secured in place, it was time to get the upper shelf built. I wanted to split the open space in half, and with some careful measurements, I figured out exactly where the supports needed to go. They were secured around all 4 sides, followed by installing the same 1x8 plank that went on the lower shelf. With all of the major reconstruction done, the next day started with sanding the piece down, getting it ready for wood putty. This knocks off all of the loose slivers and pieces that were left over from the construction and preps the existing paint for the distressing process you will see in the next video. Once the sanding was done, I grabbed the wood putty and started filling in all of the holes. This goes fairly quickly, and after letting the putty cure for a couple of hours, I came back and gave the piece its final sanding. This removes all of the excess wood putty and smooths everything out so that Lindsay can start right into painting the piece later. Finally, I made the cutting board out of a 1x12 poplar board. I really like the way that the grain looks in this piece. You have now seen how we take an unloved, half-completed project from the thrift store and rebuild it into a rock-solid piece of functional furniture. I can stand on top of this island and jump up and down, and as I weigh about 250 pounds, that is saying something. My part of this project is finished, and in our next furniture refinishing video, you will see how Lindsay uses layer after layer of paint and a sander to transform this into a functionally beautiful piece of art. If this is your first time here on the Hippie Geeks, it would be wonderful to have you subscribe. Hopefully digging into this project with us will help you digging into your projects. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and check out our Patreon page or merch store to support the channel directly. Thanks again, and we will see you on the next one.